This is CK at CK Education, and today I want to share a story of my career and specifically in the area of interviewing. I graduated college in 1995, and I've had to date. So I'm just counting the interviews that I have had since college, since my first career job. And in some cases, I've had multiple interviews within the same company or organization. So I have an interview, and then sometimes you have to do another interview to get a promotion or to get a different position within the same company. And so sometimes that happened. But overall, in my head, I'm counting about 12 interviews that I've done since I graduated college until the end of my employee career. So in 2007, I quit my engineering and consulting, career, and I started my own business. So I've been an entrepreneur since about 2009. But I'm counting the interviews that I've had since I graduated college up to that point, and there was about 12 interviews. And in 12 interviews, I've gotten a job offer every single time. I'm not saying this to show off. There's nothing to show off about. I'm just telling you that it happened, and I want to share generally how I did that and what kind of mindset I went into these interviews to do that. And later on in a subsequent video, I will share, because there's a lot to cover here. And actually, I've written a book that I have not published yet, but and it's well over 100-page book, I think, on just interviewing. And so, there's a lot there. It's not as simple as, I've seen some of these YouTube videos like, if you're asked this, then you should say this. It's not that kind of video. It is not that simple. If it were that simple, it'd be a piece of cake. You're like a robot. If you hear this question, you spit out this answer. As in everything that I do in my career, in my life, everything is based on relationships. The relationship that you can build in the short period of time that you are sitting in front of that person when you're interviewing is the most important thing. And so you are going into the interview as a person. You're not a robot. So it's not the memorized lines that you're going to use that's going to get you the position. And I've never done it that way. Although I prepared, and there are some things that I've researched and prepared beforehand, so that if I'm asked generally about this kind of topic, I might say certain things about that. For example, if they ask something about why would I want to work for the company, I've done some research on the company, so that there are maybe three main reasons why I'd want to work for the company. And I might have prepared something like that, but it's not, if someone says this and you simply answer this thing and it'll get you the interview. Nothing in life is that easy. It is all based on relationships. And the relationship in that, like I said, a short period of time that you can build is the most important thing. But let me just speak broadly about, so my first interview was actually before I graduated college, but I count that because that led to my first career job. And so when I went in there, I had done interviewing before that. When I was in college, I did, let me see here. I had a interview with the Frito-Lay company, actually, the potato chip company. This was when I was living in Seattle, and I had an opportunity to interview, and I interviewed about 3 or 4 times with that company. Now, mind you, I was still in college. I was a senior in college, and they were looking for a manager. And I went down there. I even went down to Vancouver, Washington. Most people are familiar with Vancouver, Canada. There's also a Vancouver, Washington. This is country. It's rural. And you're going down the road and you just see fields and cows, and you're like, is there like a factory out here? But sure enough, the Frito-Lay factory was there. It was a very, very interesting place, and you can see Cheetos and Doritos and Lay's potato chips coming down these these slides and getting packaged, and it is really cool. It's very interesting, and I really wanted to work there. I thought it'd be really cool. So I interviewed, and I interviewed, like I said, about 3 or 4 times. They were looking for a manager. I had zero management experience. They were looking for someone with about 5 years of experience, but I had zero. But I made it all the way to the final round. And I think it was a Saturday morning or something, and I was at home, and I got a call, and I answered the phone, and it was Frito-Lay, and they informed me that I did not get the job, that they were going to give it to the other person. It was between me and this other person, and the other person had 10, 15 years of management experience, and so they told me, we think you would probably do a great job, but we honestly can't take a risk on someone that has no management experience. So, we have to go with the other person. And they informed me of that. Now, was I disappointed? Maybe a little bit, but not really. I was really happy that I made it to the final round. Those 4 interviews or so that I had at Frito-Lay really set the foundation for all the other interviews that I would have in my career. It really taught me a lot, and it helped me to mature very quickly. And I learned a lot through that process. And one of the things was, remember, I had zero experience as a manager, but how could I make it to the final round? Because when you sit in front of that person, it is up to you. It was up to me to convince them that I was the right candidate, that I was the best candidate for that position. And so I didn't go in there thinking, well, I don't have a management experience, so I would understand if you guys don't choose me. I'm not going in timid like that. I never have. It doesn't matter whether you think you're the best qualified or the least qualified or somewhat qualified. You always go in there with confidence. Now, you got to be confident without being cocky. Nobody likes a cocky person. Nobody likes an arrogant person. Nobody likes a person who thinks they're all that. That's very different than confidence. So confidence is saying, you know what? If you hire me, I can be as good as anyone. I would be a great fit for your organization. Now, I'm not saying that you necessarily say those words, but you have to go in with that kind of confidence, okay? And the things that I'm saying in this video can be encompassed, summarized in this one sort of motto that I have, and that is, in order to be a great interviewee, in order to have great interviews, and in order to maximize the chances of you getting a job offer in your interviews, you have to become what I call the perfect candidate, okay? So think about the perfect candidate. I always thought of myself, I need to be the perfect candidate. Now, a perfect candidate, would the perfect candidate come in right on time? If my interview time is at 2 o'clock, would I show up at 1:55? No. The perfect candidate would have already arrived 30 minutes prior. So if my interview time is at 2 o'clock, I'm already there at 1:30. What if I get lost? There's no chance like that, because a perfect candidate the day before or the week before would have already driven to that location and already found out how long it takes, what the road is, what the parking situation is like, what the traffic is going to be like at the time that I'm going to go. That would have already been scoped out. All right. So that's the perfect candidate. And that's what I did. I never show up late, ever, ever, ever. So I don't understand people when they're late to interviews or when they're late to appointments. I really have not a lot of sympathy for those people because I've never done that. You got to become the perfect candidate in your head. Wouldn't the perfect candidate have scoped it all out a week before, a few days before? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate have come early and be waiting, prepared? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate look at the forecast and see if it's going to rain? It might take a little bit more time. They're going to have an umbrella ready. They're going to leave a little bit early. Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate have matching colors and nice clothes and nice clean shoes and match? They're going to be clean cut. Wouldn't a perfect candidate make sure that the tie is matching and everything's, and if you're a girl, you have, you got the your business suit or whatever you got on. And wouldn't the perfect candidate have questions ready, prepared to ask, and a pen and something to write on? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate have researched the company beforehand? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate know about how much money that position is being offered? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate have researched If possible, the interviewer and what that person is like and what they're looking for. Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate know what kind of duties and what kind of responsibilities that position entails? Yes. Okay. Wouldn't the perfect candidate bring an extra resume and maybe an extra cover letter just in case that person misplaced it? Yes. Okay. The perfect candidate is 100% perfectly prepared. And if you don't even do that and you expect, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to get the job, what makes you think that you're going to stand out at all? Okay. Wouldn't the perfect candidate, when the interviewer approaches that person and makes eye contact eye to eye, has a smile, has a friendly demeanor, shakes a person's hand confidently, but not too long, not too short, not too tight, not too loose, right? All of these things, all the details. And wouldn't the perfect candidate, walk confidently, not stooped over, timid, looking down? No, right? Straight up and walking confidently. But again, not cocky. Wouldn't the perfect candidate sitting down in front of that person nod and pay attention to what the interviewer is saying when the interviewer is talking? Yes. And maybe even taking some notes, right? And wouldn't the perfect interviewee, or perfect candidate be confident and secure enough in himself or herself that when the interviewer asks a question and I answer the question, I answer it, and then when I'm done, just stop. And the perfect candidate is not intimidated or is not embarrassed by that pause. Now, when you're inside of an interview, that little pause, that last 3 seconds, can seem like 3 hours. I understand that. See, like that. You see that pause right there? I mean, it just seems so long. It just seems so long. That person's looking at you, you're looking back at them. But here's what I do. Whenever, I answer the question, the interviewer asks something, and I answer the question, I answer to the full. I just stop. And you just wait for them to ask the next question. Okay? They ask the question, I answer the question. And then I stop. That pause shows a person that you're confident, that you're secure, that I don't have to keep filling the pause because I'm insecure. That's what I think. Did you have another question? Or I mean, I'm done answering this question. So, or I'm looking down and I'm doodling, or that shows you're insecure. Just stop. And the pause is fine. And just politely look and wait for the next question. Okay. Now, there are many, 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 many tips. I'm not going to go over all of them. This would be a 3-hour video if I did this. So I'm just going over generally, but little tidbits of tips like this. Okay. But anyway, think of yourself as a perfect candidate. The perfect candidate, when you step in there, wouldn't the perfect candidate have the mindset that I'm going to be, if you guys hire me, I'm going to be the best employee that you guys ever hired. I'm going to be so good at this job that you guys are going to be happy that you chose me. Wouldn't the perfect candidate go in with that kind of confidence? Yes. Wouldn't the perfect candidate be honest about his strengths and weaknesses? Wouldn't the perfect candidate be honest about what he knows and what he doesn't know? Like if they ask me something and I don't know it, I don't pretend to know it. I just say, I'm not really sure. I don't know. But, and whatever. Okay. So I make sure that I answer the question, but I'm not pretending to know something that I don't know. When you don't know, you don't know. And you just say, I'm not sure. However, if you guys train me, I am eager to learn that. And I look forward to learning from that and getting trained. And, I'm a fast learner, and I want to, I don't know everything, but, I'm eager to learn, and I'm excited about the opportunity to build my skills and on and on. Okay. So again, you want to become the perfect candidate. There are many, many, many aspects of interviewing that I will cover again in subsequent videos. But this one, I just want you to get this in your head. When you go in for an interview, think of it as, what would the perfect candidate do? And that's what you got to do. Okay, what would the perfect candidate do? And that's what you have to do. And you have to become that person. Now, when you're sitting down in front of that person, I think the most important thing is, like I said, is building a relationship. If that person doesn't like you, I'm just being very honest with you, okay? It doesn't matter what school you went to. It doesn't matter what your GPA was. It doesn't matter what kind of research opportunities you had. It doesn't matter where you were published. If you're going into that interview and that person, for some reason, doesn't like you, and usually this is not a random thing. Usually you did something for the other person not to like you, okay? Usually it's your fault. Like you did something. I don't know, something was, okay. And so if you did that, and if that other person doesn't like you, you're not likely to get hired. This is why I say that it's very much a relationship. You have to be a likable person. You have to be likable. That person has to like you. All right. So sometimes it's great if you can find common ground, but you don't want to keep going on and on and on and on and on about that. Always perceive what the other person, if the other person wants to move on, then you want to sort of bring that to an end and you want to move on. You gotta constantly measure that. You have to constantly perceive where the other person is, because that person, the interviewer, is in control. And you have to let that person be in control. You don't want to take over the interview as an interviewee. You got to let that person be in control, but you got to sort of go along with where that person is going. That person wants to talk about personal things, then stay with the personal things. And then that person says, okay, well, that was wonderful, but let me ask you some more questions about the job itself. You're like, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. And so you're just gonna switch to that, and then and on and on. So this is the key. I've done over 12 interviews in my life, probably 15 or 16 interviews. But like I said, from the moment my first job, graduating college, and then to when I became an entrepreneur, I've had about 12 interviews. I've gotten 12 job offers, 100% success rate. I've never not gotten a job offer for an interview that I've done. And those things, I think, are very important for me to share with you, and I think you would benefit from that. But today, I just want to give you a summary and tell you what is the thing that you have to the takeaway with this video. Become the perfect candidate. Now, there's a few little tips that I threw in there, and you can jot notes, jot down notes and mark that as well. But I will be sharing much more specific aspects of how to become a perfect candidate in other videos. But this is just a sort of an introduction, just to start. So jot down some notes, rewind it, and go back and take notes if you can. If you have any questions, then just put them in the comments, and I'd be happy to correspond with you. But again, my channel has a lot of videos like this about career success, even about college prep advice, career success advice, mindset for success advice, money and financial advice, parenting advice. There's a lot of things on there, over 100 channels or 100 videos as of today, and I'm uploading at least one new video, and I've been doing this every single day for the last 100 days at least, and I'll be continuing to do this indefinitely. Okay, so my goal is always to upload at least one new content every single day. So again, I'm not doing this to make money. I'm not doing it to get a big following or a lot of views or subscribers. If you are that one person being helped by this, this is for you, all right? This is for you. And that's what I care about. That's my motivation. I really don't care, like I've said in other videos, I'm not asking you to subscribe. I'm not asking you to like. I could care less if you subscribe or like. What I care about is that you watch the video and that you are helped and that this improves your life. That is my motivation, okay? So I hope it is that. But thanks for staying with me up to this point in this video. And then until my next video, I hope you stay well.